Madekwana vhathu vhoṱhe Dumelang, sanibonani, molweni, avuxeni, lochani. Habari. Greetings to the African fam. So, from previous conversations, we've been talking under the theme African Geopolitical Positionality. Beware European propaganda. And so, in the last conversation I had with Uso, we spoke about Pan-Africanism, its history, its evolution. We spoke about the questions of Pan-Africanism in contemporary times and how we should be thinking about that. But then we also we were meant to discuss the red pill. What is referred to as the red pill anyway? We're meant to discuss this, but we did not have a chance to get into it. We ran out of time. So I am going to have a conversation with Uso about this, but I think it's important because the red pill is such a layered conversation, you know? And I know some of you may be familiar with the red pill, some of you may not. But it really is going to be quite a layered conversation because there's just so much there. Because the reason why the second part of my title is Beware European Propaganda, this is really where it comes from. Because just to give a bit of background, we will also go into what the red pill is, but basically the red pill represents a men's movement, which is expressed in different ways as the Manosphere online on different platforms, largely on YouTube. And this is a men's rights movement that was started in America. The red pill or Manosphere are guys who came together to express their they're being disgruntled about dating, relationships, and so on. And we will read this article just now by this guy here, Stephen March from The Guardian. He wrote about the red pill, and I'm going to get into it. But the reason why this was so important is because I want us to get to the culmination of our conversation, and this is how we are going, to sort of reach the apex of our conversations, with Uso on these questions. One of the things that you will see about red pill, the Manosphere, and all of these ideas, you will see that they are largely representative of white males in America and their issues and concerns about gender roles, questions around intersexual dynamics, and so on. So that is that perspective, from the perspective of typically a conservative white American lens. That is what you're getting with the red pill or the Manosphere. That's how this whole thing started. Some middle-aged white dudes were struggling with relationships as a result of the effects of feminism on the society. So you will see the red pill or the Manosphere is very much linked to feminism. And so, again, European propaganda. This is where I go back to. And this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying to us as Africans is, at what point are we going to stop being copycats, mimicking the behaviors, the lifestyles of other people, looking at the world through the eyes of other people? Because in the same way, what's her name? Gloria Steinem, the mother of feminism, an American white woman. If you look at the red pill again, American white males. So, folks, African family, Abantu, what are we doing here actually? What are we doing with feminism, with red pill, and all these movements? And you will see that just like feminism, and I'm having this conversation to draw parallels between red pill or manosphere and feminism. For me, it's very interesting. So, in the same way that in feminism, it started out as it's just feminism, it's just feminism. But then you ended up having all these different moves in it. There's first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave. And then you had black radical feminism, So pretty much the same elements you find in the so-called red pill or manosphere space. I mean, now you have what is called the black manosphere, or the Negro manosphere. You understand? So black men now have created their own subset of this, subculture. You understand? They've created a subsection there for themselves. And this happens all the time. We go into other people's movements, their ideas, and then we realize that, but no, the views expressed here don't represent our views particularly. From our vantage point, the challenges we are dealing with, as Africans. Same way with feminism, and how black women ended up with black radical feminism. It's the same thing. So, yeah, let's go into this article. I think this article reveals quite a lot. But before I go into this article, the thing I really, I really want us to think about, and to really look at and consider is, so this article, what I can tell you about it before I even read it, is that it is written by someone who is anti-red pill, anti-manosphere, and especially, as you can see, the title there, Swallowing the Red Pill, A Journey to the Heart of Modern Misogyny. Modern misogyny. So already you know how this person is framing this thing. So I don't believe that anyone can really put forth an opinion that is completely non-biased, and that's why I always look at who is talking, what are they saying. I mean, the Guardian, obviously, mainstream, and all of that. So obviously they have all these things to say, about, and I imagine they're probably pro-left, or left-leaning or whatever. So because red pill and manosphere represents sort of ideas from the right side, the right wing or the right pole in politics. So obviously, it's going to be critiqued, and it is critiqued here. But I think he also provides some important information, but naturally his own biases come through. So you'll hear in the language, and I think also one of the blessings that I've had is I've had the pleasure to study language. I'm a trained, qualified linguist. So one of the things that I understand very well is discourse analysis, and I know how political discourse can be weaponized. So I know very well, and I'm going to show you even in the article as we go through it, what some of the issues are that I immediately see, when I'm going through this. Okay, so um, so you will see here that this is the author here, Stephen March. You can look at this. You can also find this article online. I'll probably leave the link as well in the description. But yeah, this is what it says: Swallowing the Red Pill, a journey to the heart of modern misogyny. So tomorrow, Puzo and I are going to have this conversation. But yeah, I thought let me have this as a precursor to that, so that when we do have that conversation, you have some kind of foundation. But I just want to show you. So they say the online community hosted on Reddit is where men go to air their toxic views about women. You can already see toxic views. Stephen March aims to find out if the red pill is perpetuating a culture of hatred or if it's just a place to vent. Okay, so that's what they're saying. Now, let me share with you. Let me share with you as well the definition of misogyny, just so that as we are talking about this, as we talk about this, we are looking at these things, So allow me to just get the definition of misogyny. So here we have misogyny, and this is from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. So, what did I click now? Sorry about that. Okay. Let's go back. Go back to misogyny. Right. So, misogyny. What does it mean? It says hatred of, aversion to, or prejudice against women. That's what they are saying. Now, obviously, guys from the red pill deny this vehemently. We don't hate women, just trying to tell the truth and so on. I'm not here to defend the red pill. I have no dog in this fight. This gender war between American males and females. Now, here's the interesting thing about this definition, and they now show you the etymological roots, because a lot of words in the English language, they have their roots in either Latin, Greek or French or some other European language, So here it says that misogyny may be distinguished from the closely related word sexism, which signifies discrimination based on sex, although it most frequently refers to discrimination against women and also carries the meaning behavior, conditions, or attitudes that foster stereotypes of social roles based on sex. Okay. Misogyny refers specifically to a hatred of women. The word is formed from the Greek roots mesein, which is to hate. And then there is gyne, or however you pronounce that word, which refers to women in Greek. Each of these roots can be found in other English words, both common and obscure. Gyne helps to form gynecologist, androgynous, and mesein can be found in such words as misonism, a hatred, fear, or intolerance, innovation, or change. And then in the same vein, there is misandry, which they say is a hatred of men. Right. So now that we've got that out of the way, let us go back to our article. Let's go back to our article on the red pill and misogyny. Now that we've got the definition of the word and what it means. So you guys will, decide for yourselves whether you think the red pill qualifies, as a sort of misogynist group as they are trying to suggest. But anyway, that's not what I'm addressing here today. What I want to do is to show sort of the origins, the roots of the red pill, where it's coming from, the ideas it's putting out there, and sort of what its political foundation is, and ideologically where it's coming from. It was important for me to mention, that it comes from the US. You'll see in the article where it gives a description or a profile of, who the typical red pillar might be considered to be. Right. Now, going back to that concept of misandry, okay, they say misogyny, right? But if someone starts their article like this is the first line in the article. How shitty are men really? I mean, guys, can you imagine? I'm just sitting here minding my own business, and maybe I just come across this, and then I see it somewhere, and the first line I'm seeing there is, "How shitty are men really?" I mean, you are starting, you are starting us while we're just sitting here. You are starting us. How shitty are men really? Guys, come on. Yeah, anyway. Let's get in. The question hung in there, blah, blah, blah. He goes on there. I want this one here. He says, by 2016, a series of catchphrases had come to dominate the chaotic state of gender politics. Things like what? Male privilege, rape culture, men's rights. But confusion reigned. Now, here I agree with this guy because he's talking about 2016. Now, in previous years, we know that feminism had really come to dominate the discursive space. In our social matrix, wherever we find ourselves, even in politics, in the social realm, everywhere, in economics, I mean, in education, feminism was dominating the discourse. And so these are the catchphrases that this guy is talking about in gender politics, male privilege, and all these things that came, the patriarchy and all of that. Right. And then there's men's rights. And so around 2016 and maybe a little earlier than that, guys started to have these sort of dialogues among themselves, and obviously as a response to the dominance of the feminist discourse. So guys guys started to feel like, hey man, nah, this thing is no longer balanced now. I mean, we understand certain things, but there's a level at which men started to feel it was going too far. And I agree. I am a man. I saw it. And I was like, now everything is patriarchy. Now everything is misogyny. I was like, no. It can't be. So understandably, red pill. Red pill comes into the mix, right? And in the middle of this confusion, a group of anonymous men retreated to the red pill, an online community hosted on Reddit to revel in their loathing, which Lawrence Fishburne offers Keanu Reeves a choice. You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Right, so that was the Matrix, right? Those of you who know the Matrix will know this was the story. Those who don't know, well, I can't help you. Find out the Matrix, Neo. So the character there in the Matrix is Morpheus. Morpheus is speaking to Neo. He says to Neo, I have two pills here. Either take the red pill or the blue pill. Take the blue pill, you are going to leave this reality that we're in now. You're going to go back to your regular boring life, and you're going, So let's just read it. Let's just read it. The rabbit hole in. Okay. All right. So here he's explaining the concept of the red pill in terms of politics. So let me start by explaining. So the red pill, what it's supposed to do is to reveal your reality to you, because you are supposedly this zombie who's moving in the world, and you can't even see the kind of system that you're part of and who's pulling the levers of power and so on. So they have used this analogy that men need to wake up and realize and understand the true nature of women in order for them to navigate the dating space better. Basically, this is what the red pill guys are saying. So the red pill in the movie The Matrix represents an awakening. Then blue pill is like you can eat the blue pill and go back to sleep, and then you don't have to ever worry about any of these things. So that is the what is being sold or pitched by the red pill in terms of this gender politics that they're talking about. The rabbit hole in this case is the reality that women run the world without taking responsibility for it, and that their male victims are not permitted to complain. This makes the red pill a continuous, multi-voiced, up to the minute male complaint nestled at the heart of the so-called Manosphere, a network of websites preoccupied with both the men's rights movement and how to pick up on it. Now that's very oversimplified, but yeah, these are elements of the red pill. I just want to highlight some of the key elements here that will sort of lay the foundation for you to understand what red pill and Manosphere is about. And then Puzo and myself are going to absolutely dissect this tomorrow. So he says, this guy says he went on to study the red pill, and this is what he found. So he says, in the hours upon hours I spent wandering this online neighborhood, I saw mostly feral exploded feral boys wandering the digital ruins of exploded masculinity, howling their misery, concocting vast nonsense about women, and craving the tiniest crumb of self-confidence and fellow feeling. So, something that you will find a lot among so-called red pillars is that these are guys who were in relationships with women, women hurt them, and then they came across this online community of men who are in the same situation, been hurt by women, and now they are venting. This is why this guy talks about fellow feeling, this sympathy or empathy or whatever that you get from other men who have dealt with the same thing. So now, guys end up coming together and they find commonalities among themselves. By the way, I'm also going to briefly share a little bit of my story in terms of the red pill, but let's leave that for tomorrow. For now, let's just lay the foundation. I too experienced what is called a red pill rage, and I will explain what that means. Yeah, we'll get into that, but I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to lay the foundation for you. So yeah, I'm going to go back, and then again I come here again. The answer to the question of how shitty men are from this perspective is we are all pretty shitty. So this guy has just laid out in previous paragraphs just how terrible men are, and then this is where he comes and concludes we are pretty shitty. Whatever you are. Anyway, the head moderator of the red pill goes by the handle Morpheus Manfred, and when he agreed to give me an interview, it was only by online chat. Anonymity is sacred. Facelessness is the sacrifice it demands. He moderates the community's 141,966,000 and counting members. And like most of them, describes himself as what? White, early 30s, male, and conservative. Typically, you find conservatives, those who label themselves conservatives, as being also, right in terms of their political leanings. So this is where it's coming to now. And this is where I want us to take the conversation about this, that sometimes we are going to join things and we don't really understand them. I know a lot of black men, swear by the red pill. But in the context of talking about alignment of political interests and, because you could say, no, but this is just discourse around gender, relationships, and so on. It's not that simple. If you just think about this as some separate thing, you're going to be confused. Because I am of the view that all these movements, feminism, first wave, second wave, whatever, now red pill and all this stuff, is just to politically confuse us, especially us as Africans. And that's why, American presidents come to Africa and the only thing they talk to us about is gender equality, LGBTQIA, whatever rights, this and that. So these are the things they talk to us about. They don't talk to us about the real things that move stuff, like how we are going to change the power dynamics between us and them. How we're going to renegotiate or, even set different terms for the patterns of ownership in Africa as it relates to resources, means of production, and things like that. So, yeah, it's you have to think about this in a political context. These are, white American men and women with these ideas, and then we eat them up. We join in, we get in there, and then after a little while, you hear, the blacks have created their own little kamaranyana. They've created their little room. So I want to say this. As African men, are we happy with this idea that we just exist as a copy of everyone else? Chinese men, European men, Indian men, we are a copy of everyone. Like, where's the originality, guys? Where's the way I see it? If really we felt we had issues with our relationships and we needed some sort of philosophical underpinning, try and help us solve our problems, surely we could find one that is homegrown, that makes sense to us. Okay? Surely we could find ideas in our own cultural matrix as a people that helps us make sense of intersexual dynamics, as opposed to all these philosophies and ideas that I don't even think we understand sufficiently to even apply in our lives. And applying them is even, leading us into, making erroneous decisions. You understand? So, yeah, man. I want us to really think about these things. Feminism, red pill, two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. Folks, I'm telling you. So this is the profile. Typical red pillar. Now, this is an article from 2016, folks, just so that I help you understand. They say 8 years old, right? This is an article from 2016. We're now in 2024. So this movement has been around for a while. And as always, African people have been co-opted into these things, man, that have nothing to do with us. Anyway, this guy was interviewed here. I'm sure you'll have time to read in your own time, in your own space. Let us continue. Alright, so what is he saying here? Alright, so this is just in reference to a conversation. One of the conversations that happens in the red pill. So some guy was asking for advice. This is what they're saying. Requested some advice from the group. He had met a girl. She was all smiley during the conversation. But then I horribly botched an attempt to ask her out, blah, blah, blah. So this guy says, no, he wants some advice on how he must proceed with this girl. So this guy says this here about that. The above is a fairly typical post. The red pill grinds away at the confusions of contemporary masculinity. Now, I wonder what caused the confusions around contemporary masculinity. We can't ignore the changes as a result of the proliferation of feminist ideas led to a lot of confusion in terms of men knowing what is it exactly we are supposed to be doing here. Because things were just being redefined around us and no one was talking to us or saying anything about what does that mean now, So there's a lot of confusion as he talks about, here, confusion of contemporary masculinity. I agree. So both real and imagined. The intellectual foundation of the red pill is its glossary, a shared language of complaint and insight. Yeah, so in the red pill, they have their own terminology. And like in all movements or all ideological movements, the one thing that as a linguist has always fascinated me is the glossaries, the definition of terms. In feminism, I mean, you're talking things like misogyny, the patriarchy, this and that, and so on, And then with the LGBT more broadly, you get cisgender, this and that, heteronormative, With all movements, I've always been fascinated by the glossaries of terms that, are developed. you know. So yeah, some of the typical terms that you will find: sexual market value, alpha male, beta male, and so on and so on. There's a lot of things in there. But yeah, so that's red pill. So here, Gloria Steinem, can look into her. She's considered the founding mother of feminism. So here are some more terms from the red pill. One-itis: when a guy has fallen in love with a woman in the same way a boy loves his mother. He obsesses about her, but she does not reciprocate. So the guys in the red pill call this one-itis. And that one-itis is that, this is a guy who, as soon as he meets a woman, he is already worshipping the ground she walks on and pedestalizing her, because he is just thankful that she has given him her attention. So, one of the things I will say about the red pill that I observed, and especially from all these podcasts that they have and all of that, it's I think some guys who would never have a chance with women have finally found a platform to say something. Dudes who, man, finally have a platform to sit across the table from women you could only dream about, being in the same space with. Now you can not only are you able to sit across the table from them, you can sit across the table from them and call them all kinds of names. I think, yeah, that's just an observation from my side. It's, yeah, a lot of guys who are in this are really, guys who have struggled with women. Let us wrap up, folks. Let us wrap up. There's nothing more to say except I will see you tomorrow when we have, a more in-depth conversation about this. I'm sorry this took so long. I got disconnected. I don't know how this video is gonna turn out. But see you next time. Bye-bye.